This is the story of the women of Broadway. A testament to our times, the series centers on the stories of 100 women working in the business of theater. Filmed over 4 months, across 5 time zones, 2 continents, through masks, through Zoom, covering the expanse of the unbelievable highs and lows of this global pandemic. A pandemic which brought to light the gender inequities in the workplace and beyond. This series answers that exposure by giving voice to those whose stories have not typically been told. In this episode, we look at some of the roles within the ecosystem that, away from the spotlight and the applause, not only thrive, but are the foundation for the entire industry. This is Here's to the Ladies Who.
I facilitate storytelling and storytellers. That's it. That's my job. It comes in all different forms, but at the end of the day, I'm a conduit. I'm somebody who takes something created by someone else and shares it out with the public, right? So I'm just a conduit, and I take that privilege really seriously. I'm aware that there's power in that and that there's also responsibility. So yes, we are a commercial industry. It is a business. I am aware of that. I run it like a business. I am focused on profits. I'm focused on investors and dollars and the fiduciary responsibility. But simply balanced with that is the idea that there is profit and there's sound business to be done, telling stories that we've not heard before.
So I'm the Vice President of Creative Projects at the Shubert Organization. And Creative Projects is a department that looks for material for us to produce, co-produce, invest in, and book into our theaters. I get to see a lot of readings and workshops. I get to talk to producers. I get to read scripts, and it's a wonderful job. And I came up from the nonprofit theater. I feel very lucky to be able to do what I do and to do it here at Shubert.
How we produce is very important. Mm-hmm. I don't think that I think that there are many people who are starting to think about that. I didn't come from a theater background, so I think the experiences I've gone through in my life have really informed the way I want to produce. And for me, it's really important to think about how everyone experiences the work that they're working on.
I came into the business. I assisted all of the company managers and general managers in the office. And really what I did is I learned the business of Broadway. I've been producing for 25 years. What I love most about producing is that it's a blank slate. And I feel that my job is very creative. And it's also to be in complete support of the creative team.
If every single show is a startup, the producer is its CEO. Well, the general manager is the CFO and the COO. They run the day-to-day. They execute the visions of the producer and the artistic team as well.
Found being the fabric for other people to fulfill their dreams, being the foundation to help make somebody's idea of reality incredibly satisfying. And that's what you do as a general manager. It is about hiring people, it is about payroll, it is about budgets, but it's really about being an asset to say, I understand that thing that you want to do, and here's a ground plan of how we get there.
I was going to be the high school math teacher that did the plays, right? Perfect, all worked out. So I took a lot of math classes, I took some business classes, I took theater classes, and ended up actually graduating with a double major in theater and business. But for me, it was either or, like it was plan A or plan B. Got to New York, was lucky enough through my college to get an internship at a general management office and learned for the first time, because they don't teach you this in school, it's not in the books, that there is a job that is the business of theater. Got an internship there, light bulb went off, and that was 28 years ago. And then I went to work for a woman named Nina Lannon, who was my mentor, worked with her for 15 years and then became her business partner. And then she retired and now I run the company. It was a happy accident of stumbling into an internship that put all the pieces together for me.
I randomly called Serena Coin one day, and it was May of 2009, and I was looking for an internship to start in June of 2009. So the audacity was really extraordinary. And the receptionist at the time, a woman named T. Panton, who I think I owe everything to, connected me to HR. I left a voicemail, and HR called me back, and they said, we had 2 voicemails when we checked. One was from someone backing out of our summer internship program, and the other one was from you. And it was just, destined to be a thing. And on my first day of that internship, Nancy Coyne, the founder of Serena Coyne, came to talk to us. She told a story of a young Muslim woman who went to go see Wicked when it opened, and how she wrote David Stone, the producer, a letter saying that for 2 years after 9/11, between when that happened and the show opened, she felt like the green girl and couldn't articulate it. I knew that the thing that changed my world the most was theater. And how could I not work in theater? And Nancy opened the door for me to an aspect of the theater industry that I never knew existed.
I came here initially to work on a couple of projects that were transferring over to the US. And that became the beginnings of what AKA New York ultimately turned into, which is a full service advertising agency. Something that we often talk about internally with regards to what's special about our jobs, particularly in the work that we do on the advertising and marketing end of things, is that we tell stories to sell stories.
I was hired in 2015 as Playville's first social media manager. It was like the perfect blend of my skills and my passions. A lot of what my job was over the 6 years that I was in that role was distributing the content from Playbill.com, like the editorial site we have, making sure it goes on Facebook. Like, what's the hot news that everyone needs to know that'll go on Facebook? What are the community engagement moments we want to have on Twitter? And what are the fun visual posts we're going to have on Instagram?
A theater publicist is somebody who is the person that is the connection between the public and the production. And PR is different than, let's say, advertising, because you know, as an advertiser, you also have a connection with the public, but it's in a different forum. As an advertiser, you pay for an ad or a commercial, but as a publicist, you set up public relations opportunities that aren't paid for. I mean, that is the simplest form of what we do.
So partnerships on Broadway can take multiple forms. If you can point to it and say, who the heck's job is that on Broadway? It's usually the partnerships team. Literally anything that boils down to a relationship that would be used to amplify ticket sales or awareness. Traditionally outside of the Broadway space is ideally where we're looking. So, you know, getting us outside of the Broadway press channels or the already cookied folks that our advertising agencies are targeting through their ads, and kind of that really hard to track interaction with people.
So in my role as Chief Operating Officer, I oversee all things operations at the company. So that means I'm overseeing human resources, IT, finance, all operations, office staff, etc. I also am responsible for process and procedure throughout the entire company. I have to make sure that we are working efficiently in every aspect of what we do here. And I really take care of the people. Like, that's a big part of my job, the people.
While there are people in the building, I'm looking at how people really move through the space, seeing if there are things with the building that can make that process more seamless, be it signs, also aesthetic things, like if I see that there's water damage, or a wall needs to be painted, or a piece of a carpet is damaged. It's also for safety. Like, that would be a trip hazard. So it's both for like the operation of how people move through the space and the safety of those people, of our patrons.
You know, you are there to find opportunities for the work your clients are making, find opportunities for your clients in which they can do the thing they do. And it takes a certain kind of person that wants to just, make 100 phone calls because they just believe this should be on stage.
My primary focus as talent manager is to find talent work and also to help nurture and develop their careers. So I would send out audition appointments for actor clients. I would do some research with some of my clients who are directors and track projects for them, and ultimately try to pitch them for projects for theater, for television, for film.
I founded the Broadway Sinfonietta during the pandemic. It had been something that was swirling around in my brain for a while, but then there was kind of a series of events that led me to finally taking steps towards making it a reality. I felt like I was seeing women of color overlooked for positions that I felt that they were qualified to hold, and also just feeling like I was not seeing a lot of women of color in the music department spaces alongside me.
The huge thing for me so far has been like the ability to be involved in every department in some way. Like this fellowship is a lot more interdepartmental than the specific ones. And I get like such a great big picture like synthesis of how these departments connect to each other and that they're not just separate pieces,
One of my mentors, who is also an executive director, likes to say the role of a managing director and executive director is to manage the capacity of an organization, while the role of the artistic director is to dream the artistic ambition of that organization. And so as co-leaders, our jobs are to balance those two out, right? Making sure that the capacity is there to support the artistic vision.
I was a musician, so that I was a drummer. That's what my degree is in. So the idea that I end up being a CEO of something is actually pretty funny. And I still laugh at myself sometimes, but I was interested in the business side of things. And it is a great way, to be on the administrative side to make a living. And it doesn't take you away from creativity. In fact, your creativity is with you. And I think we need to attract more people that are artists or have the soul of an artist to do these jobs.
I'm in my 27th year here. And I started as director of sales and I sort of worked my way up. I'm also producing all the shows at the Roundabout. So along came the title of executive producer. I think my journey's been honestly hard work. I've never stopped. I have always had my hands in everything that has the word theater on it that's attached to this organization. Once a show is programmed, I put it on its feet. And I put it on its feet first financially. I'm seeing how it works, and then soup to nuts, putting it together and bringing it to life.
I was turning 50 actually, and I thought if I don't do something new, I'm going to remain in the same position that I have been in, all of which was great. I mean, there were no complaints per se, but if I didn't push myself then, I was never going to push myself. The way that we work as tour bookers is unusual in that we do so much of our work in advance. I mean, of course, producers do a lot of work in advance and general managers do, but our cycle is 2 to 3 years in advance. And because booking is like a jigsaw puzzle where you don't have all the pieces, you're trying to figure out where your 40 weeks of consecutive dates are while all of these other pieces are being moved around and you're trying to find your matching piece.
For me, there isn't a typical day. Which I love. I thrive off of it. I spend a lot of time looking at ticket counts. How are tickets selling? Where are they not selling? Try and figure out why and if there's a pattern so we can improve upon it. I'm thinking about Broadway across America right now more than anything, but with 45 plus cities around the country, it's not one size fits all, which I love, and finding those patterns. And it's very rewarding when you get it right. And really, really terrifying when you get it wrong. So you have to make the decision 18 months in advance to bring that show so you can prepare that tour to go out. So it was complicated, big jigsaw puzzle. It's complicated in good years. It was near impossible during this pandemic.
We make moments. There are all of these moments in life that we try to savor. That's what we're doing for a living. We're recreating those moments in a curated space to share with people. How cool is that?